live now. We're live
real
now.
quick, what is the user, or what do I search it under on YouTube? I'm just gonna watch it on my TV.
So everybody listening, it's Death by Daylight. Because we are now live.
We're live?
Yes.
Sweet.
We are all live and live.
How do you see it, though?
It should be showing up. Like, just refresh your page and it should be showing up.
Yeah.
Just check what we sent out on Facebook.
Yeah, I did. That's what I'm on right now.
Oh.
And it's not showing anything?
Not on mine. Hold on. Let me make sure.
Alright. If you are listening, and we are live, which we're trying to confirm right now, welcome to Deaf. Jesus Christ, I messed up the first one.
Well, there goes the copyright.
Oh, boys. Welcome to Death by Daylight, the podcast where we talk about killers and other rad shit. My name is Josh. I'm here with Ernie.
Hey.
Ernie says.
Was that?
Also, Lil Poochie Vert 666 is his gamer tag. If you want to play Dead by Daylight with us eventually, I'm here with Jesus.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Check out my mixtape. I'm just kidding.
His gamer tag is J Texas Music. That's Jay Texas Music. Jesus is back. Juan, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Bunnies 2914, that's his gamer tag. And making his I guess this is episode 1, so making his debut, Darren. Say hi, Darren.
What's up, y'all?
And he is at The Gravest, THE capital GRAVEST, in case you want to play some Need for Speed Heat at some point with Darren. Today we're going to be talking about, we have two main subjects. We're trying to give people a chance, second here to join, and then we'll dive deep into them. The first one
We're gonna dive deep into these people?
into our subjects.
So now they're subjects.
Yeah, I mean that's the way we'd like them to view us.
That's definitely what David Parker Ray would say.
No,
Yeah, he would say that everyone is his subject.
Holy crap.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Child's Play series. As advertised, we posted that the stuff we were going to be talking about, but in case you're unfamiliar, we're going to be talking about Child's Play. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the better known as the Chucky doll series. I do not like the Child's Play series. I liked the remake with Audrey Plaza, and we'll get to that eventually. But as far as the first movie and then the sequels that were closer to it, I just don't like it. As far as, like, if you put Chucky next to other slasher killers, all the way back to now, he's at the bottom of my list. Maybe not the last one, but certainly down there. For me, you compare him with Freddy or Jason or Michael Myers or Ghostface, just doesn't compare. He's a doll. As far as the audience, the audience is going to learn something about me right now. I think that I can beat up or outsmart. I think I can beat up or outsmart a lot of things that are irrational. Up until a couple of years ago, I thought that if a great white shark was coming after me, that I could punch it in the nose and it would go away. And then I saw some science that told me that wasn't true. But so as far as like really what I did was I finally saw a picture of a great white, like, in scale with a human, and I was like, yeah, I should probably just avoid that altogether. But I don't think a doll I don't think a doll is gonna beat me up or kill me. I'm not scared of a doll. I thought the movies were dumb and I didn't like them. So now we're gonna turn it over to Juan to tell me why I'm wrong, why you agree with me or disagree with me, and what your take is on the Child's Play series.
I Where do I even begin? Why you're wrong in so many ways.
Well, first off, you like the movies, right?
I fucking love these movies, man. I think Chucky's awesome. What makes him... Because a lot of people always say that. I would just punt him. I would just punt him. I would just punt. And it's like, you know what? I get that, but if you don't know... Okay, let's say if you have any dolls in your house. I'm pretty sure all of us either have or have had some at some point. You're not going to know that it's possessed by a maniacal serial killer. And when you're asleep, it's just going to kill you. You're not going to be able to kick it or do much to it when it's already cutting your throat, you know?
So you lived in a very open-minded household where they allowed you to have dolls?
I currently live in a house where there's a bunch of dolls, actually.
So you have a child?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
But we also have a lot of old dolls, like, from the family. And they're actually in our living room. There's actually, like, more than, like, 20 or 30 sitting there. And they're all just staring at you.
It's like one of those ceramic dolls, or...
Yeah, some ceramic, some like of that Cabbage Patch type look deal, or like those like porcelain.
Do you have them because they're
those...
like worth a lot of money, or do you just have them just because?
Sentimental value, family.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know. Someone's like, you know what? 20 fake babies in my living room just so
But I mean, on top of that, my son himself has he has a bunch of dolls, and dolls can be scary. I mean, I know it's not Child's Play, but if you think of like Puppet Master, those dolls look relatively normal. You know, they look... Well, no, mine is the one with the little hook. I forgot his name, but those are little small, simple dolls, like action figures style, you know? But anyway, that's what I think... What?
I was gonna say, give me a crasher course, dude, because it's been a very long time since I've seen the Chucky movies. So what's the whole thing about Chucky? He's a possessed doll, or what?
Yeah.
So basically, okay. So he was basically known as a Lakeshore Strangler. He used to be a serial killer. He used to practice voodoo, like Haitian voodoo. And basically what happened is he was getting chased down by a cop. He got shot down in a toy store. Long story short, he found the good guy doll, which was, for that time, very popular. And he just needed to transfer his soul because he knew about those arts, obviously. So he transfers his soul. I'm pretty sure everybody already knows this. And then after that, basically the way it works is that he needs to transfer his body into the first person who he revealed his secret about him actually being an actual human being.
Like
and
that
if
kid,
he...
right?
Yeah, that would be Andy, who looks a lot like my kid, actually. But,
So I mean, see, that part's pretty creepy. Like, just imagine, like, being a 6-year-old child and a little doll's trying to pretty much implant his soul into your body. Like, I don't
You
know.
said his
you
name was
basically
Andy?
die once he
Yeah,
takes
his
over.
name's Andy, and
Like Toy Story and shit?
yeah, exactly, like Toy Story.
Fucking
So-
Woody, bro. And he was up to something.
Imagine Woody trying to fuck... Yeah, exactly.
So
So
essentially,
was there ever a snake in his boot, in Chucky's boot? I'll just give.
Was there poison in the well?
He wore tiny
Someone
little
poisoned the
shoes.
whale.
But...
see, you guys are
at
mocking
least
Chucky,
for the
but he will
first-
kill you.
Yeah, he don't...
Well,
he
so
don't care.
what I've already got from Juan, you're telling me that, so he has to catch me sleeping? You know
No.
who? Well, okay, so
Okay.
Freddy Krueger catches you sleeping
is-
in a different way, but
So think about this.
like, go ahead.
What if you're standing next to your bed? You don't.
Right.
You're not gonna think a fucking doll is alive and trying to kill you. He could be under there with a knife. He'll be like waiting for you to walk by. Wait, hold on, and he'll fucking slit your freaking Achilles. That's gonna hurt like hell. You'll fall to the ground, and you're gonna be, what the hell just cut me? And then you see a little doll come at you, and it's like a shock factor. Like, what the fuck's going on? By the time you have any like insight to like hit it or something, he's already gonna be like stabbing you again. And by the time you know it, you're dead.
I have a lot of faith in my awareness. I feel like I'm a very paranoid person, and so I'm always checking my corners and looking behind me. I don't think the doll gets a jump on me, man. First of all, there's no dolls in my house. There haven't been since my sister was a very little kid. And so maybe that's why I don't relate to the movie. I think if there were 30 dolls in my living room, yeah, I'd be scared of like an uprising. Like they feel like they've been mistreated and now I'm the subject of their hatred. But I guess the doll thing just doesn't do it for me.
He doesn't.
You
make
have to keep
sound.
something in mind. You have to keep something in mind, especially for the first three, because anything after the first three is basically towards comedy already.
Trash, yeah.
I wouldn't. I love them, but I'm not.
It's
Gonna,
trash.
we'll
It's
get
fucking
into
trash.
that.
It's fucking trash.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. Anyway, but the first three, as far as that goes, they're not trying to relate to you as an adult. They're trying to relate to possibly a parent or just a responsible adult who's trying to take care of a younger person, because Child's Play 1 and 2, it's about Andy. He's a little boy. This is a little boy who's obviously getting, he's getting hunted down by this freaking psychotic doll. So obviously you're not going to relate to that unless you're a kid, right? And as a concerned parent, your kid tells you, hey, this freaking doll's trying to freaking murder me. What are you going to do? You're going to laugh. The third one, Andy's still involved, but in the third one, basically, he's after another little boy because he got a new body, so he revealed the secret to him. So he's trying to take over that little boy. His name's Tyler. So the idea, to me now as an adult, it's like, if you think about it, it's like my son, he's very innocent. He's 6 as well. Like, he wouldn't know any better, and a dog can be trying to take his freaking soul. So that idea is freaky, you know what I mean? Now, if you saw it as a kid, you have your own doll, so you're like, oh shit, it's gonna try and kill me. So of course, as an adult, you're gonna be like, oh well, I'll just kick him. That's it,
So again, like I said, because it's been a very long time since I've seen those movies. One, are you saying that the movie was based on this doll is now trying to transfer his soul again now into the child, or?
What do you mean exactly? Like, yeah,
So-
I mean that's what.
Yeah, so that's what, like I said, I apologize, man. It's been a long time since I've seen that Chucky movie. So he transfers his body into the doll, and now that he revealed himself to the child, he's trying to transfer his, I guess, killer soul into this child now and grow up as Andy, or?
Yeah, so basically the way it works is his old body was already dying, so he needed to leave that vessel. So of course he took over the doll, but he only has so much time to take over a new body before he becomes human within the doll. So obviously he doesn't want to look like that eternally, right? So he wants a human body, and he's like, oh, I can be young again. So he starts playing with this little boy because this little boy is innocent. He doesn't know any better. He's telling him, hey, I'm human, but hey, I'm your friend. Let's play a game called Hide the Soul. So he's taking advantage of an innocent kid, and that's what he wants to take over his body.
Well, and he's turning more human as he goes, so like he becomes more vulnerable as he goes because his heart becomes real, which means he can die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's his weak spot, his heart.
Yeah. So
like mine. Aww.
Yeah, aren't all of our hearts our weak spot? Well, so before we go into the next subject, which I guess is going to be Child's Play 2, so tonight we're going to be doing. So we had said that Juan was going to play. Ernie's going to play again tonight because we're trying to work some things out. He's going to play the first game. He's going to be a killer. He's going to be Michael Myers. So if you're here to watch the Dead by Daylight play, please stick around because Ernie's about to jump on there. I think is probably currently jumping on there. So we're also going to be doing a Drink With Us segment tonight. Every time that Ernie gets a kill, we are going to be taking a shot. And when we'll go over the Survivor rules when we get to the Survivor game, but Right now, he's going to be Michael Myers, and so when he kills somebody, we will be taking a shot. Please feel free, and we encourage you even to drink at home with us, especially during this time of no bars or anything like that.
Talking about
to
shots,
talk shit about my gameplay as well.
What are y'all drinking tonight? I got me a blue carousel margarita right now in front of me. I'm sipping on that while we're talking about this. How about you, Josh? What are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking Jose Cuervo, my usual Jose Cuervo, the Especial, and I have some White Claws. I have some White Claws that I'm drinking, trying to watch my figure. So
Well, I'm drinking a White Claw too. 70-calorie pineapple White Claw.
70-calorie pineapple White Claw.
God, what the
That
fuck happened to you
sounds.
guys, man?
Honestly,
Jesus
I
Christ.
don't know how. Part of me, as far as like, how can Josh talk shit that he's gonna fuck up a doll and then be like, "Yeah, I'm drinking White Claw tonight, guys."
I feel like it just makes me more capable. I feel like it keeps me light on my feet. You know what I mean?
I feel like the doll will be like, he'll feel sorry for you after, like, you wouldn't even try to kill you.
I don't want to kill this
man.
fucking weak idiot.
He's like, his life's already sad enough, bro. He's drinking White Claw.
He's not even drinking beer. He's drinking seltzer. Jesus.
I mean, that's like the part in fucking in Bride of Chucky, kind of that, where he's flipping through the radio, and he's like, "What the hell happened to music nowadays? This sucks." He's just gonna be like, "What the hell happened to men nowadays? What the fuck is a White Claw?"
Yeah, they are delicious, and they are 100. Well, Ernie's is 70. Mine's 100 calories. Darren, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking brandy, man. Torres 10-year.
So you've been on a brandy kick for a while now, months. I think you've been on a brandy kick. Do you see that ending anytime soon?
Probably not. I'm about to actually start like doing some type of videos tomorrow about like just making cocktails with this brandy. Like that's all I'm gonna do for, till the bars open up again.
They already have that. It's called the show Frasier.
I've never
That's
seen.
already videos about brandy.
That's a show for guys who drink White Claws. All right. I don't really get into that shit.
I love Frasier, dude. Don't you fucking slander Frasier.
Yeah, fuck that dog.
Eddie?
Yeah, okay, dog.
Juan, what are you drinking? Oh, you don't drink. Sorry.
I actually am. I'm drinking Applebee's margarita, but that's only because I went to get chicken tenders for my kid. So I was like, oh,
nice.
screw it. I got
Nice. Frasier's favorite drink, brandy.
87 calories, by the way.
Your brandy that you're drinking?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds delicious.
Hey, Darren, just real quick off the subject, so for those who don't know, Darren is a bartender. Is there any popular drinks that are named after a serial killer? I know this is just kind of random.
Off the top of my head, no, because I don't think anybody wants their drinks associated with the serial killer.
Let me get that Ted Bundy.
You don't want to name something after John Wayne Gacy?
But you know what? Because of this, maybe we can go ahead and start something.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I'll look into that.
Alright,
Yeah.
let me know when you get the Bill Cosby on him.
He wasn't no. Serial killer, fine. Serial rapist, not so much.
Oh shit! All right,
Well, that's funny because we're definitely talking about a serial rapist today. Well, serial killer and serial rapist, but
Yeah, see, he branched off. It's fine.
Okay, so Ernie, you're playing, and we're sure that other people could see us. Like we've made sure, like someone's watching us already.
Yes. Bethany is watching.
Beth, how are you now? Yeah, shout out to the homie Beth. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Alex
Back to
Santana
Juan.
is watching as
What?
well. Alex Santana.
it's a homie of mine. What's up, Alex? How you doing, man? Thank you for watching.
Hey, Alex, please don't defend this fuck for talking about dolls right now, okay?
That Alex actually, when he laughs, he sounds like Chucky,
No.
Oh God.
which was awesome, in my opinion.
Chucky is the name of my favorite ever football coach, John Gruden, because they look very similar. I got a text that my friends Megan and Luis are also watching. So hello, Megan and Luis.
Just so you guys know, we're not going to be drinking this match.
Yeah, you're getting fucked up, man. If all serial killers were like you right now, Ernie, there'd be no serial killers.
There'd be no see. Everyone would just get away.
There'd be no podcast.
So it's gonna be a very. Maybe we'll just take once everyone escapes. We'll take a pity shot.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
We'll take two
So back to Juan. Let's talk about Child's Play 2. How does that hold up as a sequel?
That's actually my favorite.
Nice, beautiful. Tell us about it.
It's my favorite just because. Well, the first one's obviously the original. With everything, it's always considered the best, right? But this one's cool just because. This is where this is where what a lot of people hate about Chucky is that he becomes funny, and this is when he starts making little remarks. You know, like there's a scene where there's another good guy doll, and he bashes him, he kills him, and his name's Tommy, and he's like burning him, and he's laughing. That's when they first start introducing that little psychotic laugh that he does. But what makes that movie crazy, I guess, is because in this movie, Andy's already a little bit older, but he's more aware of what Chucky's capable of. He's not this innocent little kid. He's in a foster home. Chucky's like basically living there, stalking him at the same time, while the foster parents are refusing to believe that that's the possessed doll, and obviously, understandably. But the best part of that movie was when they actually go to the good guy factory, and when I saw that as a kid, it terrified the hell out of me because you just see a million freaking Chucky dolls all over the freaking factory while one of them is obviously the killer and he's chasing them and everything. But that movie was good. That movie was fun to watch. If anyone's ever seen it, which I hope you guys have all seen it, but that one is just it just starts off quick, where the first one it's kind of a little bit slow and it takes a while before you start seeing Chucky, where this one it basically right off the get-go it starts killing and everything. So to me it's a classic. Actually it is a classic. So
I think there's a bar on Staten called the Good Guy Factory.
Is that like a male strip club or?
Well, the bars on Stanton are all gay bars. They're not. There's one called the Toolbox, and there's another one called Briar Patch.
Oh my god!
A lot of guys bought me drinks there. Really nice people there.
I really like. I mean, those bars are a lot of fun every time I've been there. But not that I go a lot, but we have been. So as far as the storyline though, like so eventually we get into ridiculous territory. So I like B movies. Like I like horror movies that are meant to be bad. I like Thanksgiving and I like Zombiever. You know, like those kinds of movies I really enjoy. But I think I probably watched 20 minutes of Bride of Chucky before I was like, I'm out of here. I can't do this. What is it? What's one thing that he says that like made you actually like laugh, like belly laugh?
What it was from?
Yeah, like just your favorite Chucky line. Set it up for us.
Favorite Chucky line. Damn, I can't think of.
Or a favorite moment that you have from one of those movies.
You know, it's funny because my favorite moment would have to be in the shittiest movie, the one I actually really do hate, which is Seed of Chucky. Because there's a part where basically they're trying to take over. They're trying to they're doing the whole voodoo ritual. He's trying to transfer his soul to some baby so his son can choose who he wants to be, or daughter, because he chooses to be both transgender, basically. Which, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, at some point, Chucky gets annoyed as hell, and he finally decides to basically say "fuck it." And then they're like, well, why? Why don't you want to become human anymore? And that's when he's like, you know what? Like, I can't remember the exact quote, but he's basically saying, like, that he doesn't want to become human. He doesn't want to become old. He doesn't want to be able to not be able to get it up anymore. And then he's like, he says that he'd rather take his chances as a supernaturally possessed doll. And that's when he says, I'm Chucky the Killer Doll, and I dig it. To me, that was cool just because of the fact that at that point, everything that he's done in all the other movies is like, you know what, fuck this. I just want to be a doll and kill people because that's what I do.
He was a serial killer even before he was a doll serial killer. Did I hear that you got a kill, Ernie?
Yeah, one kill.
One kill. Has everyone escaped?
Oh,
Yeah, the other three escaped.
Well, let's take one shot for the kill. A kill shot. That's what we'll call the segment, guys. See, we're learning. Well, so let's take a kill shot for Ernie's kill. Cheers, boys, and cheers, everyone at home.
Cheers.
Salud. We'll have to come up with something to say too. I don't know what to say.
Kill shot on 3. 1, 2, 3. Kill shot.
I already took my shot.
Yeah, Jesus was just following directions immediately.
He just wants a drink.
I got dick.
Also, the first match, you're done. That was it. Boom.
Yeah, I got dicked on real bad.
He got
Dicked on. I like it. Dick down.
But anyways,
so the next match is going to be played by Juan and Ernie, and they're going to do Survivors, but not quite yet, right? We're gonna give Chucky about 5 more minutes.
Oh, while that loads, you can already go ahead and get me going.
What do you guys know? What Survivor you're gonna play for all our Dead by Daylight people?
Yeah, I'll be a bunny.
Mine is a very sexy girl
Named
Kate Denson.
And I am a bunny Feng Ming.
all right. So,
anyways, so I still don't think that you're like convinced that Chucky doesn't suck.
Trash.
Here's the thing. I go into most arguments open-minded. Like, I usually am not going to have an argument unless, I'm going in it with, like, an open mind and really trying to listen and all that. And I am doing it for the sake of the podcast. Ayn Rand couldn't convince me to like Chucky. Like, there's just no... like, the most logical arguer of all time. Like, she couldn't...
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see it as a kid?
Yes. My cousin Ide was, like, 13, which means I was probably, like, 9. And they showed it to me. And I'm going to tell you this. I was kind of a pussy when I was a kid, so...
You're drinking White Claws now, so not much has changed.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you.
Sorry.
But like when it came to horror movies specifically, I didn't like horror movies because I would get scared and I would have nightmares. Watch Chucky,
right.
No problem. Thought it was dumb even at 9 years old. So, like, I really just, I think I just have a distaste for it. I don't know why. Like I said, I really like horror B movies, but it's just not my cup of tea.
And it's funny you say that because, as much as I love, like, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy Krueger, I will not sit down. Even though I have, but I will not sit down through any sequels of Halloween or Friday the 13th.
Dude, Freddy versus Jason, come on.
Freddy versus Jason,
trash.
I went to see that. I saw that one in theaters. But, like, if you talk about Jason X, Jason Takes Manhattan...
I think very few people watch Jason Takes Manhattan.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm like, I'd rather watch fucking Chucky than fucking those ones because those ones are pretty bad. But the Chucky, every single movie is pretty good. Even the comedy ones, like
And the newest one was actually pretty good, and they bring back Andy, the little
yeah,
boy from the first two.
when he
Yeah,
has
Even
but
though the
the
characters
head
in
on
the third, it's not
fire.
the same actor.
well, so when we're talking about Jason specifically, so first of all, he doesn't show up right away in Friday the 13th, but there's like four Friday the 13ths where he's the main killer before we get into the really really bad sequels like Jason Takes Manhattan.
So
Yeah.
you guys said Freddy versus Jason. So who are you going with? Chucky versus the Leprechaun.
The
I will
leprechaun would kill
go
him.
the
But
Leprechaun because he's
I've never seen
sadistic.
Leprechaun.
just
You've
because he
never-
has powers, Chucky literally has human powers. He's no different than basically Michael Myers. Just
Dude,
on a
Leprechaun in the
smaller
hood,
scale.
shit went hard.
Y'all know the Leprechaun say, yeah.
That's
Leprechaun
why.
in
That's why
space.
Chucky sucks.
You ever seen
We're just
Leprechaun?
gonna
Yeah,
put
that's-
Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes with all these little dolls, and we're gonna just fucking make movies out of it. Garbage.
But no, I can sit through the Chucky movies, especially like even like Bride of Chucky. I love that one because actually that was the soundtrack because that's when I first heard Rob Zombie in the beginning when you hear what's that song called?
Living Dead
Living
Girl.
Dead Girl. Yeah,
Living Dead Girl. Yeah.
Dude, that album of Rob Zombie's album, fuck, I forgot what it's called. That used to scare the shit out of me growing up. My mom
It
had the
was-
CD, and it was, the first intro was talking about, like, the devil and stuff, and as a, 8-year-old boy or whatever, I was terrified.
Jesus, are you drinking a White Claw?
I'm drinking whiskey and Coke now.
Yeah,
it's
you're
from
full of
Hellbilly
shit.
Damn.
Deluxe, by the way.
Do I sound
so wait.
slurred right now?
No, we're just saying because you sound like a pussy right now saying you were scared of a damn Rob Zombie album.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, like, I
As an
definitely can't think of an
8-year-old boy-
album that used to scare me.
I mean, I guess I can
I
understand
also-
listening to like Dimmu Borgir or Cradle of Filth, but like Rob Zombie?
Look, I
The,
thought he was a real zombie growing up, right? I mean, what can I...
the only thing that used to creep me out a little bit, and I'm talking like as a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old, was the Number of the Beast intro for Iron Maiden. But even then, like, it wasn't like actually scary. It was just like, oh shit, that's fucking creepy. So, are you guys about to be in the game, Ernie and Juan?
No.
We still got like 5 more minutes or so.
Oh yeah, load times are
I-
trash. But
Also,
I-
quick note: even though I love Mark Hamill, there's no way he touched Brad Dourif, the guy who the original voice for Chucky. When they
Oh
came
yeah,
out
we haven't
with
talked
Chucky.
about. That's perfect. We can talk. We can finish by talking about the remake. So, I like the remake more than I liked any of the other movies, and let me tell you why.
Aubrey
so-
Plaza doesn't count. Okay.
Well,
you-
that's certainly not a bad reason, friend. Let me tell you. But
if you, like, don't get me wrong, I love Aubrey Plaza, but if you say that you love the movies because you can stare at Aubrey Plaza when
no. She certainly didn't hurt things, but let me tell you why. So, the new Chucky, the remake, is a commentary, first of all, on how reliant we are on technology. But his whole thing is that he's a fucking 3-foot robot who has all of his inhibitors gone, and he like learns and becomes like this killer 3-foot robot. Like, he's a big motherfucker compared to the original Chucky.
So he's a
And
Terminator?
I would be scared. I would be scared
Yeah,
of that.
basically.
A 3-foot killer robot is a lot scarier to me than a doll with a human heart.
Well, you're an adult now. That's like it's different for you, bro. Like,
No, I'm telling
Yeah.
you though, I saw Chucky as a kid and it just didn't scare me.
I mean, I don't think the movies were meant to like. I mean, I think they're geared towards kids, first of all. Like, and I think I don't know. It's just creepy. Like, even when I was like 10, I was like, I'm not buying that fucking doll and having it in my room just in case. You know.
No, I wouldn't do that either. I'm not.
but see, and I think that's the point because it's just like, well, what if it does come alive and kill my ass?
I don't think there
Creeps
were
you
a
out.
lot of 10-year-olds that were like, you know what? I want a Chucky doll. Really test my fortitude.
Well, I'm
Not
just
only
saying,
that, but you gotta understand the first one was made in the 80s. So obviously technology wasn't factored into its creation. So I mean, Terminator had already done that if you think about it. So
Yeah, Terminator. I'm way more scared of the Terminator than I am of Chucky. Either
well,
Chucky,
obviously.
but I mean, not scared of like the movie, but like if I had to fight God damn it, I can't.
T1000.
T isn't it 1
Why do I
800
want to say
T800?
T180, or is that just because I'm thinking about
T800,
Tony
sorry.
Hawk?
If you're listening,
T
correct us.
800, yeah.
No, I'm a T1000, a learning computer. It's T1000. I think I remember the quote.
I
So
don't know.
imagine if in the 80s Terminator came out and then Chucky comes out and it's the same idea.
Well,
that
no, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying that they should have done it back then. I'm just saying that I liked that aspect of the remake. It was a lot harder for me to say I could kick this thing's ass in the remake than it was in the original. Talking about Terminator really quickly, because I don't think we'll ever have an episode on Terminator, but speaking of sequels that a lot of people didn't like that I loved, Terminator Salvation was a fucking great movie.
Thank you, Jesus Christ.
I
I
like
love that movie.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that really hated that movie, but I liked it a lot.
Well, I mean, it helps that Christian Bale was in it too. Like, I mean, he's a great actor.
Yeah, he is.
Well,
Also, real quick, Chucky comes out in the Rob Zombie remakes of Halloween, but as the sheriff, the actor, he's actually Sheriff Brackett in that. So to me, I thought it was cool how I freaking listened to Rob Zombie for the first time in a Chucky movie, and then he goes on to be in a Rob Zombie movie, Halloween of all things. So.
That is exactly the kind of nuggets of wisdom we're looking for here, Juan. It would have been there's no Wikipedia page that can provide that kind of connection for you.
Hey,
He was also Lord of the Rings, but yeah.
Before we continue a little bit, I'm reading the comments here from the YouTube channel, and I should have addressed this earlier. I'm sorry, guys. They just weren't pulling up on my phone, but they're pulling up on my laptop. So, Ernie, Juan, you guys want to go into a little bit about what the survivors do in Dead by Daylight? A few
Ernie?
people have asked.
Okay, well, basically the survivors, and I'll let Ernie explain the whole little backstory of the game itself, because Ernie knows more than all of us. But basically, as a survivor, you're basically trying to escape what they call a trial. So there's going to be a total of 4 survivors. You can either take a toolbox, a medical kit, or a flashlight. And the point is basically to repair a total of 5 generators to try and escape from a killer that's obviously chasing you throughout the game. And basically, if you do other things throughout the game, whether it's fixing generators, unhooking survivors, doing totems, or other little things that basically help other players and whatnot, you get what they call blood points. So with those points, you can unlock more perks and a lot of cool little stuff, or more toolboxes, more first aid kits and whatnot. And
Cool.
Go ahead, Ernie. You got this.
Oh, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Well, so give us a little bit of the object of the game as a survivor is you want to fix all the generators to open a gate.
Yeah, there's a total of 2 gates in the map.
Yeah,
and then ideally all 4 people would escape, although that probably rarely happens, right?
It happens but sometimes it's just okay. So every survivor and every killer has a ranking. So basically, the lower the number means the higher the rank. So, for example, if you go against a level 1 killer, that's like probably the most difficult killer you can go against.
Freddie asked,
Supposedly,
how long
but
ago
not
did this
exactly.
game come out?
2017.
We've been playing it for like 2 years now, though.
I know we pressured Juan into buying this game. Juan, when you first started playing it, after we pressured you into finally buying it, what did you love about this game?
It was very addictive, but it's just the fact that you guys sold me on Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface is in it, Leatherface is in it. A lot of like iconic movie killers, basically. But I just like the whole idea of being of having to run and escape from a serial killer without having guns or anything to really fight back, like a more realistic scenario. That's what I liked about it.
Hey, shout out to Megan who's watching right now. Yes, as a survivor, it does take a while to find a match. If you're playing as killer, not so long. It's really quick if you're playing as killer. But as a survivor, it can take, I don't know, sometimes 10, 15 minutes sometimes. So just let's go on that aspect.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about strategy as a survivor. Or like how to be a good survivor. Does it just come down to like maneuvers? What is the best?
Be toxic. So by toxic, when you teabag a killer, when you teabag a killer, when you just make them miss, like anyone that was watching me play earlier as killer, that was a very toxic group, and it was probably a group of people all playing together, and they just fucking destroyed me. And like, if you're toxic, you can make the killer miss. You can loop them around a certain spot for the entire match. It's just, yeah, it's fucked up. Hopefully, that can be toxic so you guys can see.
So, just so everybody knows, here in our little group that plays, Ernie's the only one who's gotten to rank 1 survivor, which is the highest that you can get to when it comes to being, well, either a survivor or a killer. But yeah, he's the only one that's done it so far, so he's the expert here.
Ernie, how are you? So are you level 1? Like you're the highest level just as a survivor in general, or with a specific survivor?
So, in general, like, it can be any person, but right now I'm a 4 just because every 13th it resets. So, I'm a 4. One's a 3. But
and I have never gotten to
red ranks.
these red ranks. So the highest I've ever gotten is a purple rank at 8.
Yep.
Because I just get fucking wrecked nonstop like no other business. I'm never doing the teabagging. All right, I am the fucking.
You get teabagged.
Yeah, the killer will teabag me somehow.
See, I don't understand how that's fun for you. Like,
it's not. I often cry at the end of each match, and I'm just upset. But it's fun. It's fine. And just for everyone who's asking, the game actually came out in June 2016. So.
Okay.
Goddamn.
Also, there is a Dead by Daylight mobile, so if you want to try it and get destroyed, you can do that as well. We are not sponsored by Dead by Daylight, just letting you guys know.
So
yeah, Dead by Daylight does not know we exist. Hopefully they will at some point, but they have no idea we're revolving a stream and a podcast around their game.
I just want to get one of my songs from my mixtape on their official soundtrack. I'm just kidding.
One of your songs while you're getting chased by the killer, basically.
So we got.
Where can we find their official soundtrack? How is their soundtrack? Isn't it just like ominous tones?
I found it. I found the theme song on Spotify, and these guys called me out for having it. They're like, "You're obsessed, dude."
Damn.
So, look, we're getting the match started. Awesome. So before the match starts, then we have a question here. What are some tips for successfully outrunning a killer, or at least run them longer enough for your teammates to get some generators done? What would you guys say?
Make sure you know how to maneuver your camera to look behind you.
And I'm asking these for myself too, because obviously I fucking suck at this game.
So since we finally got the comments going on, what does everybody else think about Chucky?
Like, what do the people in the comments think about Chucky?
Yeah, if you guys are watching, what do you think? We have Freddy watching. We have Megan watching. What do you guys feel about Chucky? Would you guys fight that doll? We got Manny watching.
Would you guys fight that doll?
the remake or the original better, and why the original. But
yeah, so answer those, or leave us some comments, and we will address them here. Let me explain the Survivor drinking real quick. Oh yeah, go ahead, Ernie. I know you need to talk to him.
So Juan and I are about to go silent. So yeah, enjoy these guys talking.
Before you go silent, Ernie, who's your character in Dead by Daylight right now?
She's a bunny. Her name is Fang Ming.
And you know who would definitely pick up Fang Ming if
you know
you
what?
were
I
running
said
on the
I was
side
gonna
of the road?
real quick. I said I was gonna use Kate Benson, but I'm actually using Bill.
Yeah, Bill would definitely not get picked up by David Parker Ray, all right?
Who is David Parker Ray?
Oh, yes. So our next subject... Oh, let me explain the Survivor drinking. Every time they unhook somebody, we're going to take a drink, not a shot, and then if they escape, we'll take another shot. And hopefully you're nice and toasty by then. Also, I mean, feel free to drink by yourself. This is America still. So going into our next subject, that was an excellent transition, Jesus. Thank you. We are going to be talking about the Toy Box Killer from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, which is a place that I've been a lot to go fishing at Elephant Butte. And I guess we've already outed ourselves as being El Pasoans. So, for reference, Truth or Consequences is 2 hours away from us, if that. And was the site and the killing ground for one of the sickest individuals, I think, that, you know, I'm sure some people have heard of, but a lot of people probably haven't. And that is the Toy Box Killer, David Parker Ray. So, Jesus, why don't we start off talking about your first impressions with the transcripts from when he was, I guess, confessing? Was he confessing, or he's just talking to somebody?
He is, so basically with the Toy Box Killer, he was picking up women and taking them to his, what he would call the toy box, where he would have a bunch of sex toys, and he actually had a gynecologist chair where he could strap them down to and put them into whatever position he would want to basically become his sex slave. And he was doing it so often that he got tired of talking about, this is what's going to happen and this is what I'm expecting of you. So he made an audio recording to play to these women as far as who has just been kidnapped, that this is what's going to be happening and these are the rules to expect by, and for them to follow these rules so they can go ahead and live through these next whatever. He talks about having them for days or months at a time, and it's really up to him as far as what he wants. So in these transcripts, it's really some sick stuff here, man. This guy was fucking nuts. He was talking about how he would be, you know, raping these women, using sex toys, to even at one point where he talks about where he would let his dog rape these women too. It's some nasty shit that this guy was into.
His dog and his friends, who some of them were convicted, others went unnamed. I guess before we get into this, for this and for all future episodes, trigger content warning. Certainly, we're not going to hold back talking about. This isn't a true crime podcast, so we're not going to go into so much detail about how brutal or. It's going to vary from case to case, but this is an extremely brutal man. And one of the craziest parts about him specifically is that so he lived, when you think about, like, so the toy box was a travel trailer, and then he lived in a house with his girlfriend, whose God-given Christian name is Cindy Hindi. And he would take these women into what he called the toy box, which was the travel trailer. But his property was not a big property. You imagine that it's a small town, a very, very small town. There's lots of people with lots of property. That was not the case with him. He lived in a retirement community, and so it's unreal to think that nobody heard these women scream or ask for help, or when he was actually going through all the sick fucking shit that he did, that no one heard anything, because it was right on the street, and his little house was right there, probably 10, 20 yards away from each other. And it's just crazy. It's crazy to me that in this tiny town, no one heard these things going on.
Well, he soundproofed it. He said it himself. He soundproofed what it's like.
And he was a well-liked guy in the town. He worked for the wildlife park, and he was a well-known mechanic. A lot of people said that he was just a nice, quiet guy who was always willing to help out when he was working. So he definitely fit that profile of, I don't think this guy's a serial killer. I like this guy. He's a genuinely nice guy, and that's, most psychopaths have that tendency in them. So.
Yeah, he used to nurse animals back to health. Like, that was another thing he did. Like, he would take sick dogs and nurse them back to health. Like, that's weird.
Well, and he, this woman, so she had a lot to do with his success, because she would lure in other women at the bars or wherever, would get them friendly, and as they were getting drunk and all that kind of stuff, would eventually get them back to the house with the promise of drugs or the promise of more alcohol or whatever it was, and by the time they knew what was happening, it was obviously too late. So there's also a lot of discrepancy about how prolific he was. So first of all, they found 0 bodies. That's the first thing. They've never found a body of his victims, even the victims that aren't alleged, because he's confessed or Cindy Hindi told them about it. They've never found any bodies, and he's dead now, so God knows where any of them are. But it went from being like, oh, well, we did this like 10 to 20 times, to being, oh, he did this 60 times, to he was doing this once a month for 40 years. And nobody knows what the actual number is, because there's not any information. The way he finally got caught was that there was one survivor, Dead by Daylight reference. There was a survivor who had initially she said, I got really drunk and I feel like someone drugged me, and I woke up in this strange place and I thought that I had been sexually assaulted. She actually just goes home, and her husband is so mad at her. He's just a piece of shit, and he blames her for, being sexually assaulted. He actually kicks her out, and she doesn't go to the police or whatever, because she's like, well, if my husband doesn't believe me, then the police aren't going to believe me. They eventually find a picture of her in that gynecology chair with duct tape all over her face, so that no one could identify her, but they identify her by the tattoo that she had on her leg, which was incredibly unique and intricate. And she ends up saying, look, this is the guy that I think did it. I don't remember what happened here, obviously, because I was very drugged. But this is where I woke up or whatever. And then the other thing is that there was a girl, so the last girl that he was ever able to do this to, so that girl testified and helped them put him behind bars. But the girl that actually got him caught was being tortured and raped repeatedly, and he had to go to work. So Parker goes to work, and Cindy Hindi is back at the house, and she's making tuna sandwiches, as you do for your torture victim. And she ends up, she left the keys, like an idiot, she left the keys right next to, and this other girl was actually named Cynthia as well. So this other girl, the other Cynthia, gets the keys, unlocks herself. She goes into the living room and calls the police. Then Cindy Hindi walks in and sees her and tries to stop her, but the other Cindy had been able to grab a knife, and she stabs her in the back of the neck. Not like to kill her or like super deep, but just enough to like fend her off. She gets out the front door and runs 5 blocks wearing nothing but the collar and chain that they had her tied up with. and she eventually makes it to a house where a lady lets her in. They call the police, and she says, "Look, this is what's been happening to me. This is where I just ran from." And they actually pull over Parker and Cindy Hindi, looking for this woman to try to get her back. Their excuse is something like to the police is like, we're looking for her because she's a heroin addict, and the reason she was tied up is because we were trying to get her off of heroin, and we knew that if we didn't tie her up, that she would just she wouldn't get through the worst part of the withdrawal. And they got arrested, and then that was the end of it. But he doesn't seem to me like a super smart guy, right? Like, that's fucking dumb.
Well, that excuse seems pretty stupid. And I don't know if he just got scared in the moment, but if, diving into that case, he really did as much as he can to prevent him from getting caught as far as the aspects of everything that he took, all the steps that he taken. So no bodies were found. They have him on voice saying that he admitted to killing over 35 women, and to this day that no bodies were found. And for all those who don't know, this person that Josh is talking about, his accomplice Cindy Hindi, she was just released from prison last year. So she took a plea bargain, and she served half her time, and she was released as of last year.
Isn't that fucking nuts?
Yeah.
Like she didn't do the actual raping or the killing or she did. First of all, she did participate in the torturing because a lot of times while he was doing it, so he wouldn't have to tie him down all the time or whatever, she would just sit there and hold a gun to them. And so she did have a super active part in ruining all of these fucking lives, and just because she made a deal and then behaved well in prison, she's a free person right now. That's unbelievable to me. It's absolutely nuts. And who knows how much of it she was making up, because there's no fucking bodies. So her latest statement, why we don't know how prolific he was because in her last statement, she said he's been doing this every single month for 40 years. That was the last thing she said. Or the last, confession she made, and she just obviously she was a lot younger than him, so she was not there for the whole thing. But that's apparently something that he had told her at some point, which he never admitted to. But
he really did, and he held that I'm just gonna deny, and he denied it all the way to the end, even when he was in jail. I mean, the only time he actually accepted everything and he said, yes, I'm guilty of everything, was to get his daughter off of the punishments that were coming up among herself. Did you read that part, Josh? As far as his daughter was involved in everything that was going on, too.
Yeah, so she had something. Well, so she was also helping lure women in, right? And she participated until. Why did he let her leave? Because she had a son that she needed to get back to, or something like that.
Talking about that son, there was even rumors as far as that the father of that son was David Parker. It was.
Yeah, they had a real fucked up relationship, obviously. But so, like, one of the things that I read about their relationship was that when she would come home from school with good grades, he would give her porn, like, as a reward, when she was, like, very, very young. So when that happens to you, you just have zero chance to be a normal kid. There's just no way.
I had saw that she actually reported her father when she was in her teenage years, and the police kind of just oversaw it. You know what? Yeah, he has some sick sexual fantasies, but there's nothing wrong with that. He's not hurting anyone. So she kind of just told her friend, and her friend reported. Well, they tried to report it. The cops never did anything, and then he just kind of continued brainwashing her as far as that this is a normality, and she just started eventually going along with it and kind of becoming her accomplice in some of these kidnappings and such when she grew up to be an adult.
Yeah, and so she's only allowed to leave because she has a son or whatever. So translating this or transitioning rather into like a more lighthearted conversation about this serial killer. Instead of going over, like, again, we're not a true crime podcast. We're not claiming to be. Maybe, you know, as far as there's plenty of people that do that already, and there's plenty of research and all that they've done. This is just so we can kind of set up our conversation. Could this ever be made into a movie, or is the subject matter just too horrific? It's too sexualized. They could never put that on screen. See, you say that, and then you think about like Human Centipede and that kind of stuff, and like they can make a movie about anything. But
50 Shades of Grey and whatnot.
You can make a movie about anything.
We need to take a
I
shot.
can give you a
quick.
little.
oh, you guys, we need to take a shot for. You guys escaped?
Yeah, they both
No,
escaped.
not me. I actually died.
So one shot for Ernie. This is not a kill shot. This is
It's a
live
pity
shot.
shot.
oh what?
A pity
Well,
shot.
It's a pity shot. It's a kill shot for Juan for not surviving.
Yeah, I was trash in this match.
He died in the
little-
toy box.
Little quick something that I actually noticed when I was reading on this guy. His daughter, you know how her name is Glenda?
Yes.
You know how we just spoke about Chucky? Well, when we had discussed it, we actually thought there might be a connection because you know how Chucky's name is Charles Lee Ray. Turns out that wasn't the inspiration behind his name, right? The Ray part of it. But I was like, Glenda, why does that sound familiar? And I realized, okay, in Seed of Chucky, his transgender son, his name's Glenn, and then he changes his name to Glenda.
Oh shit!
Yeah, his name is Glenda. But it's funny because there's absolutely no connection. But it's funny because when he's Glenda, he's basically evil, taking more on his father's like evil kind of side. When he's Glenn, he's more of like a nice, sweet type of kid doll thing or whatever. Just a little thing I noticed. But yeah, absolutely no connection, which is funny.
Yeah.
Well,
Cheers
so
up.
there's a couple of things in here that I think, you know, if you could get, maybe you don't focus on how horrendous that stuff was, but more on like the truth or consequences community and the Elephant Butte community, who kind of overlooked a lot of red flags just because this guy was so well liked. And then, so there's one story in particular where I thought to myself, this could be an amazing shot. He actually, so the girl that testifies him with the against him with the leg tattoo, she was still close with her mom, even though she moved out of state after everything that happened. At one point, Parker gives a ride, so he sees that her mom is walking home late at night because she was working or something, I don't remember, but she's a city employee too, so she's walking home late at night. He sees her in her uniform or her t-shirt or whatever, and he goes like, "Hey, I'm a park. I work for the park service, and I work for the wildlife service. I'd love to give you a ride home, whatever." And so he gives her mom, the girl's mom, a ride home, and they have like this little conversation back and forth. Pulls up to her house and just lets her go, but she had no idea. Actually, rode in a car with the man who had tortured her daughter, and I just thought, like, man, that would be fucking crazy in the movie. Like, you already know how fucked up this guy is, and then boom, like you're thinking the whole time, like, please don't kill this lady, please don't kill this lady. And there's just a lot of stuff like that. The transcript. Why don't you talk a little bit more about that? It's just what was the worst part of the transcript for you?
Well, the worst part for me is he was acknowledging everything that he was doing. It was all for a sexual fantasy that he was having, and he was telling him, as far as, I am simply doing this because I want to do this, and because I feel like I have a right to do this, and he's basically telling these women that, you're going to have to take it whether you like it or not. You really don't have a choice. And then at the end of the transcript, he says, well, have a good day. Have a nice day. And it's just like, you fucking asshole. Like, how can you expect to just like listen to that and if someone's just like, all right, well have yourself a nice day. You're gonna be fucking raped and possibly killed in the next month or so. And we're gonna do whatever we want to you. You see,
and so eventually he ends up telling the police that anything he did, he only did because the women wanted it, and the only way he ever got pleasure was knowing that they got pleasure. So again, he just a completely distorted version of reality. Darren, you've been awfully quiet. I don't know if it's because you're horrified by what's going on, but why don't you tell us your thoughts about it?
Well, because you've been asking Jesus, like, hey, Jesus, what do you think about this? I'm like, bro, like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and listen to these niggas talk.
Fuck me, right?
It's because
like,
like,
hold on, wait.
Fuck me, right?
What would Jesus do? So that's why he's asking me.
Yeah, I don't want to single it out, but like
if you guys are having a good conversation, I'm not going to be like, oh, guys, by the way, like, no, you guys are just fine. Like, you're like, no, you guys are good. But would you ask now that you decided to ask me a question?
I mean,
are you racially profiling here, Josh? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
No, I've just spent so much time podcasting with Darren where like I've never had to prompt him to speak. He's the kind of person that speaks whenever the fuck he wants to. So,
but I was a mediator. at our podcast. That's the difference.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm the mediator now, but
exactly.
Yeah, now you know how. No, I was very talkative now too. No, so I mean, just tell us what your thoughts are as far as what was the worst part of what he did. Maybe what did you find most fascinating about the story? Just maybe some points we haven't hit that you know that we didn't know.
Well, I think to kind of put it into perspective, because like you can read the transcript, but you gotta listen to it. I know it's not his voice now that I think it was Jesus pointed out to me.
Right.
Yeah. You can listen on YouTube. You could find little small clips and bits of it, but there's been reenactments of someone who actually has a very similar voice to his. So you could hear it. It's about 50 minutes long. It's a very long audio recording that he would play for this woman, but it's definitely
you only have to
fucking spine chills.
You only have to listen to like the first maybe 10 minutes of it to see how fucked up it is, because it's like very all very matter of fact to him. Like he's like trying to it's like he's trying to introduce you to his new restaurant or this brand new flavor of coffee that he's introducing to you. He's like, well, welcome to the toy box, and we're gonna go ahead and fucking rape you now. Like it's just like I don't know. It's just he's like really calm about it. It's like I don't know, dude. It's like
we're gonna fucking rape you now.
At one point, he was like, hold on, let me. What else? What else are our specials today? Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, where it's like, well, you're gonna get raped and you're not gonna like it, not one bit. But I don't give a shit. It's all
I think
okay, yeah.
The whole part where he's like, "You better call me was it master and mistress?"
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh man, that's good.
Especially when he was like, "You better show us respect." Like he said that multiple times. You better show us respect, and then he said multiple times, "I don't respect you. You're just a sex slave."
Yeah, like
that reminds me of the Poughkeepsie tapes. Which, if you haven't seen it, you gotta see it.
Go ahead, Darren.
Oh no, well, I think the dog shit is the most fucked up part. Like that's,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like that's
definitely the most fucked up part.
Did we explain that yet?
Yeah, we talked about it.
We're gonna get like super into it, and I don't know if you want to do that. Do you want to?
No, please, Darren, go ahead. Talk to us about dog rape.
Oh Lord.
You want to do it, Darren?
If there's any children listening, please.
Talk to us about dog rape. All right, well, this particular
there shouldn't be children listening right now at 11:17 p.m.
This is going to be really bad for anybody listening.
I already gave a trigger warning to Ernie.
So he talks about like how his dogs are always horny, and then he's gonna spray them down with, I think, canine musk or something like that.
Yeah.
And so like he's gonna come at them, and it's a 50-50 shot whether or not he's gonna get it in like either hole, and I'm gonna help him out if he needs it, and like and I really like watching it, so like it's just gonna happen, and like and he talks about like. His dick is thin, but it's 10 inches long. So he can get really in there. Like he's like talking about a hardware show. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like,
and then he talks about the base, like when it like when he starts going, like a few seconds in, it expands to the size of like a baseball inside of one of their parts, and he says he's like doing it in front of his friends, like, oh.
Yeah, and it's weird because like I didn't know who this dude was before before this podcast, like you know what I mean, which is weird considering the fact that it happened 2 hours away and he fucked up a lot of people, like 30 something people at the minimum, and I had no idea who he was at all. And
yeah, so maybe we shouldn't have gone into detail about the dog. I think maybe I'm regretting that decision just a little bit because
I asked you very specifically.
No, I know that was I made a bad throw there as the quarterback of this podcast.
A German Shepherd.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, so let's go into this. Let's go into this section. If you had to be raped by a dog, what? I'm just
oh, God damn.
Yeah, no, that was nauseating, so maybe we're going to dial it back a little bit on that.
Jesus.
Which I say, that was the worst part of the entire thing.
No, it absolutely was the worst part. I mean, he was just truly sick. Like, he started off by, with Cindy Hindi specifically going like, look, we're going to have rough sex. We're going to be, I'm going to be really fucked up to you. But she was into it. And there was a point where he tells her, and this is in her confession, there's a point where he tells her, he's like, look, consensual sex just isn't doing it for me anymore. Like I just can't get off, even if I'm like as brutal to you as possible, it's just not doing anything for me. Like it has to be non-consensual, and we have to do a bunch of fucked up shit. And so he was just sick. He was just a sick individual.
Well, that's not even the fucked up part. The fucked up part is like when she would go out of town, before she would leave, she would help him get a sex slave so he wouldn't be like unsatiated or whatever while she was gone. Like she would, you know what I mean? Like it's like making him a boxed lunch before she takes off. Like you know what I mean?
So,
Jesus Christ.
So Freddie said this went from 10 to 100 real quick. Anyone who's in the chat right now, is there any questions about the Toy Box Killer that you might have questions on that you want us to dig into a little bit? We'll have some time.
Other than he was a great value Christian Grey.
So like,
Christ.
I mean, just think about it though, dude. Like, you could be neighbors to this like sick fuck and not even know it. Like,
well, now you can because they're out and about. Like I think one's in Truth or Consequences, and one person's in Albuquerque, right? Like,
yeah,
they're out there, dude.
but the like $100,000 spent on a soundproof trailer, like. Think about it, like, you could be walking by the trailer, like, while this dude's, like, sticking a spiked dildo up this girl's butt, and you don't even know it. Like, that's so fucked up.
Did we get any answers about, what the question we asked before, Jesus?
No, we just got a Ernie sucks, so it's...
I love you too, Josh. Take a shot.
Which is true.
We're taking a shot? Why are we taking a shot?
Because, Josue Josh sucks.
So, well, I was going to try to go into lighter material about what people think about Chucky, but I guess we're going to keep talking about this shit.
I mean,
well, I guess, I mean, there's not a ton left to say. Again, I think going into the brutal detail isn't good listening material for a Friday night, so...
well, I have this question, though. Like...
Go ahead.
What do you do if, like, you see him knock a girl out in public? Like, do you say something? If you say something and he comes at you, what do you do?
I think you have to say something, because if you don't, like, how could you live with yourself? You know what I mean? Like, how could you possibly see something like that and then just let it go? I think that's one of those. I
think he was smart enough to know to not let that happen, though. Like, you would never see him do that shit. Like, you wouldn't be aware of what he was doing, so he could get away with it.
Well, that's why it was Cindy's job to, first of all, get them drunk. Well, Cindy and his daughter did it too.
But he was doing it before then. He was doing it before them, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Exactly. So he was doing that shit by himself.
Yeah, but we don't know a lot of details, because a lot of what we actually know is from Cindy Hindy's confessions. So, like, the details about how he was doing it by himself. First of all, he went as far as Arizona, which, again, if you're not from the Southwest, Truth or Consequences isn't far from Arizona, but it's not close. I imagine it's a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And he would go as far as Arizona and even Utah and Colorado to find these women before he got Cindy Hindi involved. And so, but I mean, what we do know is that his daughter and Cindy were involved in a lot of that part of the process, getting them drunk, offering them drugs or more alcohol or whatever it was that they offered them, getting them into the house, and by the time they got there, or a lot of the times even before they got there, it was over. They already had the drugs in their system. They couldn't fight back. You were trying to fight 3 people that had actual restraints and all sorts of hooks and anchors into the wall to actually restrain you.
Did you guys see pictures of the toy box of what it actually looked like inside?
I did not. No.
Oh,
Pretty
actually,
crazy.
also, don't gloss over the agent, the FBI agent from El Paso.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get into. Yeah.
Yeah, like the chick who had to they sent her in to go take pictures and or not to take pictures, to draw.
Yeah, she had to sketch the whole thing.
And then she turned it in, and then as soon as she maybe I guess a day or two when she got home, she ended up killing herself because of all the nasty fucked up shit that she saw. Yeah,
Did they ever find the a stash of the drugs that he would give them when he was about to release them? Because you know how he would actually drug them for a bit to make them hallucinate and cause amnesia, and then spray all his insides out of them so there was no DNA left.
Well,
did they ever find
all
that?
in the trailer.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they found all the medical equipment in the trailer, and then like I said, yeah, he did have it on voice of him talking about which drugs he was going to use to give that to her. And then shout out to Megan. She asked about she's a little late to the party, but she's asking about the bodies. No, they didn't find any of the bodies, but they suspect that he killed over 35 women. But and they found actually a map in his trailer too of X marks at Elephant Butte, where they believe that he tossed the bodies at, but unfortunately they never found a single one. The closest thing they found was a leg, but they couldn't identify it to anyone.
All of you that's listening, this is probably gonna creep the fuck out of you. Yes, I'm gonna say it, Darren. So you know how it was at Elephant Butte. You know how you can go, you can go fishing there, right?
I fish there a lot. I've been there a lot. It's fishing there a lot, yeah.
So think about this.
What kind of fish did you catch?
I caught a human foot one time that I thought was a little suspicious. So there's a lot of fish in that lake because they unfortunately let some invasive species in. But smallmouth black bass is the easiest thing, especially at night. You can go and fish on the dock, and they have lights to attract the fish to the dock, and you put a little minnow on there, and a lot of the times what you pull up is a smallmouth black bass. But there's all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah, there's the catfish.
Tons of catfish. I mean, there's catfish in almost every lake. But there's tons of catfish. Catfish you have to fish on the bottom, which you're not really trying to do at Elephant Butte because there's a lot of drag down there. But certainly you could go let some chicken sit out in the sun for 2 or 3 days and go and put it on your hook and catch some catfish.
I can't say this with a straight face, but Darian, give it to him.
Oh, well, turns out that he would put the bodies at the bottom of the river, and the catfish would take care of what was there. So if in between 1993 and 2002 at the very least, if you ate a catfish from Elephant Butte, you probably had some people in there.
Luckily, that's a little bit before my fishing and eating time. 2002, I was 11 years old, so I wasn't quite catching and eating catfish yet. I was fishing a ton with my uncles, but thank God not a lot of catfish at Elephant Butte.
So growing up myself, we did catch a lot of catfish at Elephant Butte, and then when I got into my older days, I just caught more catfishes on Tinder. So
yeah. Catfish are gross.
It takes catfish 20 years to digest
Ginger catfish
their food.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I made that shit up.
Catfish are disgusting. Like, if you're gonna eat them, the only way I'll eat a catfish is deep fried, because you know it's getting all that shit out of there. But they are very, I mean, they're bottom dwellers, they're scavengers, that's their job in the ecosystem, so even if you're not eating bodies, you're probably eating a lot of gross shit if you're eating a catfish that isn't deep fried. And the crazy thing about Elephant Butte is that, so again, if you don't, I mean, this is going to be common knowledge to El Paso people, but the amount of water that's in that lake varies greatly from season to season, but also from year to year. There's been points where it was barely a lake, where you couldn't really even put boats in it because the water was so low. And it revealed nothing. I mean, there's not like there was a body that washed up, or there was nothing. So earlier I had questioned about whether he was smart just because of how stupid it was how he got caught. But as we talk more and more, I mean, obviously he was an incredibly smart individual to put those bodies in the exact right places all the time.
Well, that's the thing, man. When it comes to being a psychopath or like a serial killer, you have to be like kind of smart, like to get away with it for so long.
Even his defense attorney, who was he did go through 2 trials. The first trial, they couldn't get to a unanimous decision, but they were interviewing his defense attorney, and they're like, "So, I mean, give us your honest opinion. Do you think he did it?" He was just like, "Honestly, like, I'm not supposed to say this, but yeah, like, this guy fucking did it. Like, there's just I knew being a defense attorney, like, I would represent some bad people who were definitely not innocent, and David Parker, he definitely was not an innocent man, and he deserved to be in prison. So, I mean, coming from a defense attorney, that's some crazy shit right there."
Yeah.
Damn.
Well,
this needs a documentary on Netflix for sure, because the fact that he's not like super common knowledge is like that's kind of surprising.
Especially around here, right?
And that what?
Especially like around here, like in El Paso, like
yeah,
I feel like we would hear about it.
Because if you think about it, there's probably a chance that some of those women could have been from El Paso as well.
Yeah,
there's a huge chance that that El Paso's connected in some way or another. But the fact is that in addition to all of that, I mean, so there isn't a lake around us that you can actually boat in that's closer than Elephant Butte. So a lot of people go there and just hang out like on the shore and camp and fish and barbecue, whatever. There's a ton of people that live in El Paso that dock and keep their boats at Elephant Butte and travel there a lot. So the two cities are connected, first of all because of the lake, and then second of all because of Hatch Green Chili. Hatch is right there too. It's not very far at all. And a lot of the green chili that we end up getting comes from the TRC area. And that chili is a huge deal in the city and in the region. So there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of trade, there's a lot of connection between these two places. And if you ask a lot of people if they know about the Toy Box Killer, I got an overwhelming no from most people. And obviously Richard Ramirez was a little bit different. We've done 2 homers in a row because I'm gonna claim Truth or Consequences as a sister city, and I'll but and we did the Night Stalker last time. So I think next week we're probably gonna try to go further away, right? Not something in the Southwest. We have a couple of ideas for next week, but nothing super solid yet. In closing, go ahead.
I was going to say, anyone in the comments, Freddie, or anyone who's watching right now, is there any serial killers or anything like that you guys would want to maybe hear about in future episodes? Feel free to just go ahead and, drop something down. We'll definitely look into it and kind of research it a little bit more, and we'll definitely talk about it in future episodes. So,
beautifully done, Jesus. Please give us suggestions about, first of all, what we could do. A segment that you might want to see. I mean, we tried a drinking segment today. I think that we're going to keep doing, but if you have any ideas about how we could make the experience more fun for you at home on a Friday night, or when you're listening later, or you have any ideas about what we should talk about, and again, we're going to talk about everything, man. We're going to talk about serial killers. We're going to talk about horror movies. We're going to talk about devil shit and the occult. We're going to talk about witches. We're going to talk about all sorts of shit, anything that has to do even remotely with horror or real life terror, we're going to talk about. So please, if you want to hear us talk about something, definitely let us know. In closing, would you rather fight Parker or Chucky from Chucky 1?
Chucky, definitely fucking Chucky, dude. I'd rather fight Chucky. It's a fucking doll.
Yeah, it's an easy answer because he's a fucking doll.
Yeah.
No, I'm fighting. I'm
straight
fighting
stomp
David
that
Parker
fool.
Ray. Nah, I'm fighting this fucking creep fuck.
Yeah, I would rather by choice fight him just because fuck him.
Well,
At
so
least
what if
Chucky's
you
not a
like? I'm not,
rapist.
but you don't know what he's done. Like you don't know what he's done. Like you don't. It's not like a revenge thing. Like you don't have any idea.
I'd rather fight a human than a fucking like possessed doll, because I don't know if he can like fucking do any special powers. I mean, he's a possessed doll. I don't know what the fuck I'm
He knows
getting
voodoo
into.
too.
Yeah, like
And the
I'd
first one, he
rather.
actually gets a voodoo doll off the guy who showed him how to do voodoo, and he's breaking his legs and shit without getting anywhere near him. So
Well, see, I know all about voodoo, so I'm good.
Ooh, Freddy, yes, we can talk about like La Llorona and other stuff that we saw growing up.
Ooh, in the keeping it. Yeah, so that's actually a great idea. We'll keep it in the region on the opposite side next week. We'll talk about La Llorona as the first part, and then we'll figure out something. Well, we'll have to take a vote. I'm over speaking my my position, but we will absolutely do La Llorona at some point. Maybe we can do it next week, but we will definitely do it soon.
If
Other
we do,
stuff in the region. Go ahead, Ernie.
if we do though, we are not talking about that fucking movie because that movie fucking sucked.
We're definitely going to talk about how much
We
the
have
movie
to.
sucked. Yeah, we have to talk about
I
it.
haven't seen it. My wife started watching it. She watched like 10, 15 minutes of it, and she was like, "It fucking blows. Don't even waste your time." So I have not seen it, guys.
Your wife is. I know she's smart for other reasons, but that just proves that she's smart because the fucking movie was terrible.
my mom claims she saw her as a little girl, so that'll be a fun thing to talk about.
Hell yes, I would love to hear a real life encounter with La Llorona. Other things we could talk about in the region, the Chupacabras. We could talk about.
How'd you say it? How'd you say it?
Yeah,
I said it like they say it in Workaholics, but
No, hell, the chupacabras.
the-
Chupacabra, wait, goddamn.
damn, the black
the
one sounded
rancho-
more Mexican than you, dog.
well, I said it that way on purpose. I'm talking about the Rancho Chupacabras.
I'm gonna buy some Michelob Ultras. Like,
Michael Love Ultra.
Michael up. Are there other things besides those two things? The kukui?
that
Ooh, the
will say
Jersey
right.
Devil. Nice.
I don't think it's so much in our area. I think it's more towards Arizona. But I remember a friend telling me about the Skinwalkers. That was a pretty creepy fucking thing.
No, we
The
cannot talk about skinwalkers because that is very racist for Native Americans.
Skinwalker Ranch is in Utah. And
Let's talk about. I'm even willing to talk about local like stuff, like even like El Paso High School, Concordia Cemetery. Things that we have here
absolutely. I'd love to cover those things, and I mean we can cover things. I'm sure there's stuff we don't know about Odessa, Midland, Las Cruces, Juarez. We can definitely try to keep it in the region for at least a while, or maybe do like once a month where we do something specific to where we are. Again, we're trying to figure this out as we go. This is our technically our second episode, but only the first one that we're actually going to keep posted up there. And so yeah, those were great ideas. The Jersey Devil is something I would love to talk about. I know a lot about the Jersey Devil.
A hockey team.
Yeah, I do know a lot about the New Jersey Devils, but I also know a lot about the Jersey Devil.
And the song Devil in Jersey City.
Yeah, and I do. Yeah, that's a great song. Coheed and Cambria. Shout out Claudio. I know you're out there watching us. Thank you.
Freddie just called me out because I talked about skinwalkers and how we cannot. He's like, okay, Ernie, because all the other crazy shit we've talked about weren't touchy subjects. I mean, we talked about
we just talked
rape.
about dog rape, so I don't think Skinwalker is going to be really
Yeah, I
moving
guess.
people's meter if they're still watching.
Yeah, this
But
is fun.
yeah,
Hope everyone that's watching, thanks for commenting. Thanks for interacting with us. This shit's obviously still a new thing to us, and we're getting it. But thank you guys.
We will also be rotating who's playing Dead by Daylight within the week. So, I mean, you saw Ernie get wrecked today, but just wait till I play. It's embarrassing. You guys are gonna fucking laugh. You're gonna see a fucking massive teabagging there. So I'm horrible at this.
you will never see me play Dead by Daylight, but we'll go over gamer tags one more time just in case you want to add these guys and play with them and you know, because we're gonna try to get it eventually where on another night or maybe just before the show starts you can actually come and talk and play with us in our group. But again, we don't know if that's going to happen next week or a month from now. We're trying to figure that out. But you will eventually be able to do that. So Ernie is Lil Poochie Vert 666. The Gravest is Darren. J Texas Music is Jesus. Bunnies 2914 is Juan. And I am Kilgore _ Trout 10. If you want to play some Smite or some FIFA, you can we can do that. Until next week, we'll come up with a sign off and stuff too, and you know, like maybe get sound effects or a song in here somewhere at some point. But for right now, I'll let everybody say goodbye, and then I'll do it last.
Bye.
See y'all next week.
Good job, guys. Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. Please come back next week and watch us. We promise to try to cater to people that are here as much as we possibly can and answer your comments and be better. We promise to be better next week, even if you...
Later, everyone.